Hi, Algebra 1. You all did a great job yesterday eliminating fractions, and we're going to continue to add to that, not really eliminate more. We are in lesson 7-4, and we are using fractional equations. Can you solve equations with fractions? Yes, you can, because you have learned the most important thing to do, which is to eliminate the fractions. So let's look. Here in the denominator we have an A, a 2, and a 10. So the difference now is we don't have a fraction is equal to a fraction. Otherwise we could just cross multiply. We have this minus sign right here, so that's going to really throw us off. So now we can eliminate fractions by multiplying every single term through by the common denominator. Well, remember, we need 10, because 2 goes into 10, and 10 goes into 10. But we also now need an A. So just like we were doing in Chapter 6, we have to continue that. We're going to multiply each term through by 10A. So let's eliminate. The A's eliminate. 2 goes into 10 5 times. Don't forget that A. I sometimes underline it so I don't forget it. And the 10s will cancel out here. So we end up getting, well, 3 times 10 is 30, minus 1 times 5A is 5A. That's why I underlined that A, otherwise I would have forgotten it, is equal to A. And now we're just solving. So I'm going to add 5A to each side. And we get 30, because these cancel out, is equal to 6A. And when I divide each side through by 6, A is equal to 5. So my answer, A is equal to 5. We can check that by putting that 5 in right there. Is 3/5 minus 1/2 equal to 1/10? Well, I'm going to continue to check because I know that 3/5 is 6/10. I know that 1/2 is 5/10, and that is equal to 1/10. So I kind of just did that in my head. I wouldn't encourage you to do fractions in your head, but I would encourage you to check your work. So I did show my check right here. This is all my check. And this right here is the answer. All right, let's look at example 2. I love it when they do this for us. Notice they have a fraction is equal to a fraction. I have no plus or minus. So remember what I said, if it's a fraction equals to a fraction, we could just cross multiply, keeping the top left on the left and keeping the top right on the right. Don't cross multiply the wrong way. So I have 5 times x minus 4 is equal to 4 times x minus 2. When I distribute, I get 5x minus 20 is equal to 4x minus 8. I'm going to subtract 4x to each side, and I get x minus 20 is equal to negative 8. And when I add 20 to each side, I'm running out of room. I'm going to write it over here. X is equal to positive 12. And again, I'm going to check my work. I get 12 minus 4 on the top, which is 8. 12 minus 2 on the bottom, which is 10. Is that equal to 4/5? It is. So those are super easy when they give a fraction equals a fraction. Hopefully you see that this is a fraction, and that is equal to another fraction. So please take note. The next one, oh, I knew they weren't going to give us a fraction equals a fraction, and it looks like they gave us a quadratic, meaning an n squared right here. So just like we had to do in Chapter 6, we always have to factor first. So we know that n squared minus 4 is n plus 2, n minus 2. And this binomial is n plus 2. So remember, with the least common denominator, I need to multiply all 3 terms by the least common denominator. I do share an n plus 2, so I know that n plus 2 has to be in the common denominator. But this one also has an n minus 1. I'm sorry, an n minus 2. Don't know where I got the 1. So my LCD is n plus 2, n minus 2. And notice I'm kind of shoving that in here to multiply everything through. So let's do the work. N plus 2's will cancel out. So I do have n plus 1 times n minus 2. Minus, remember all of this. Oh, it looks like everything cancels out anyway, but remember that negative would have to distribute, but n plus 2, all this cancels out. So we really just get minus 10. And I love this. Anything times 0 is 0. I'm going to focus in here so we can FOIL. First terms is n squared. Outer is negative 2n. Inner is 1n. Last is negative 2. And then we have negative 10. And we know all quadratics need to equal 0. So if there were numbers over here, we would add and subtract them over. Let's add like terms. So it looks like I get n squared minus n minus 12 equals 0. And you guys are total rock stars on factoring. So what are the factors of negative 12 that add up to be negative 1? Good. N minus 4, n plus 3. So we're going to set each of these equal to 0. And when I add over, n is equal to 4, and n is equal to negative 3. But is it really? Okay, so I'm going to go back to the original. I don't think it will let me erase. Let me see if I could erase. Oh, I can. Great job. I can erase. So I'm going back to the original, and I'm going to plug it in. So first thing I'm going to plug in, remember my two solutions were n equals 4 and n equals negative 3. It's hard to see them because they're way down here. So when I put 4 in, 4 plus 1 is 5. 4 plus 2 is 6, minus 10 over, well, 4 squared is 16. 16 minus 4 is 12. Is that equal to 0? It is, because if I doubled each of these and multiplied them by 2, wouldn't I have 10 over 12 minus 10 over 12? So that would equal 0. So we know that the 4 works. Moving on. I'm going to erase again so you can see my check. I'm going to plug in negative 3. So let me plug that in a different color. I'm going to use blue. So if I have negative 3 and negative 3, and I know negative 3 squared is 9. So negative 3 plus 1 is, I'm looking for room, negative 2. Negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1 minus 10 over 5, because 9 minus 4 is 5. Is that equal to 0? Well, let's see. 2 minus 2 equals 0. Hey, that one works as well. Always really, really important. In Algebra 2, we're getting a ton that don't work, especially with a 2-answer question. So don't forget to double check your answers, especially on these quadratics. Plug them in. Make sure you got them right.